Just before we end with our last formality for the evening, there are a couple of things that have been passed along to me through the evening that are of note. One of them is that our head boy from 2016, Mr. Matthew Glover, flew in from London yesterday and he's flying back tomorrow, and the purpose of his visit was this dinner. And for a 20-year-old young man busy with his studies overseas, I think that's very significant and he deserves a round of applause. Then we have 3 generations of Millers present here this evening, the youngest of them being David, who was in Solomon House last year. And I think it's very special that we have 3 generations of old boys represented at the 100th dinner this year. And I think they too deserve a definite round of applause. But I'm sure that's happened before, and that's something we're very proud of. We love having a 3rd generation old boy walk into the gates of Boys Eye. We've had a couple of 4th generations, but something Mr. Reela passed on to me earlier this evening was a bit of information to do with the Drabile family, and he didn't have the opportunity to speak this evening, but our deputy head prefect this year is Alvin Drabile, and he has 3 older brothers. All of them are old boys. All of them are here this evening, along with Alvin. They are all prefects. Chesney, he was here, I think, a few years ago, 1 or 2 years ago. He was the deputy head prefect too, along with Alvin, and their father is present this evening. So not only do we have 4 old boys from the same family present, their father is here tonight, and that gentleman is very special indeed. Now, my favorite part of this evening is always when we take a look at the generations that are represented here tonight. And so I would ask that any old boys from 2018 would please rise. And the rest of that decade, 2010 to 2017, please rise, gentlemen. From 2000 to 2009, of which I am a part. (1990 to 1999). 1980 to 1989. You can see the effects that disco music had on that generation. 1970 to 1979. (1960 to 1969). I think it would be appropriate to say that Rolling Stones gather no moss. 1950 to 1959. And now, gentlemen, I'm aware of 4 gentlemen from 1940 to 1949. Mr. Tony Wilkes, our president, who has had to leave us a bit earlier this evening, Mr. Sinclair Perry, Mr. Pierre Begwin, and then Mr. Kurzhoff. I didn't catch your first name, my apologies. But I think it's very, very, very special that they are here this evening. And if they would rise. And gentlemen, I would like to thank you for your very good behavior. Even the schoolhouse boys were on their best behavior this morning, and I appreciate it, or this evening. And thank you very much for making the 100th Old Boys dinner a very special occasion indeed. And if you would please take your enthusiastic spirits down Linwood Road to that fine establishment, Hofmeyer Park, and carry on with your festivities, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Louis. And before we go, the last order of business is for me to simply lead you in 40 years on. So if you would please rise, gentlemen.